Tonight's story is one of the most shocking tales of abuse of power, betrayal, and unbelievable resilience you will ever hear. It begins with a woman whose only dream was to start a new life in America. But instead, she walked straight into a nightmare orchestrated by men who believed they were untouchable. A ruthless immigration boss, a corrupt judge, a woman who refused to be broken, and a twist that sent the predator to prison instead. This is the story of Adanna Okonkwo, the woman they tried to silence, and the woman who made them pay. Adanna had grown up in Enugu, Nigeria, where the streets hummed with generators at night, and hope often lived between long power outages. She was 27, soft-spoken, brilliant, and determined. Her mother, a retired schoolteacher, often said, "Eneni, your mind is your passport to anywhere." Those words became prophecy. After years of saving, prayers, and paperwork, Adanna finally obtained a student visa to pursue nursing in the United States. Her mother cried at the airport. Her younger siblings hugged her like she was leaving for the moon. And Adanna, she walked through the gates of Murtala Mohammed Airport with her suitcase full of clothes and a heart full of dreams. She had no idea her life was about to be rewritten. When her plane landed in JFK Airport, Adanna's excitement was almost contagious. She rehearsed her responses, clutched her documents, and stepped confidently to the counter. But the immigration officer's smile faded when he scanned her papers. He frowned. He tapped his screen. He looked up with cold eyes. "Miss Adanna Okonkwo, step aside. You need to go to secondary inspection." Her heart skipped, but she did as she was told. Inside a small gray room, she met the man who would become her worst nightmare. Chief Immigration Supervisor Mark Benson. Tall, balding, a face that tried to look friendly but failed. He slowly flipped through her documents, lingering too long on certain pages, then leaned back. "Your papers," he said, "have discrepancies." Adanna blinked. "Sir, discrepancies? What do you mean?" She had triple-checked everything. Her documents were clean. Benson's eyes narrowed with a hunger she didn't yet understand. "I can help you," he said softly, "but you have to cooperate." The room felt colder. Adanna felt her skin crawl. "Cooperate how, sir?" His voice dropped to a whisper that made her stomach turn. "There are ways to fix this that don't involve deportation." Adanna's breath caught. She felt her spirit twist inside her. She wasn't naive. She understood what he meant. Her refusal was immediate. "Sir, I can't do that. Please just process my documents correctly." Something dark passed over his face. And that was the moment everything changed. In less than an hour, Benson typed up a report claiming Adanna's documents were fraudulent. She had attempted to deceive immigration. She posed a flight risk. She should be detained pending a hearing. All lies. Complete fabrications. But for a man with his power, it was easy. Adanna was handcuffed. Handcuffed. She cried out softly, not from pain, but from humiliation. As she was taken to a detention cell, Benson whispered, "Should have cooperated. Now watch what happens." And the door slammed shut. Adanna expected justice. Instead, she walked into a courtroom where justice had already been sold. The judge, Judge Harold Kimber, barely looked at her. Why? Because Benson had already spoken to him. Two powerful white men, one immigrant black woman. The outcome was predetermined. Her court-appointed lawyer gave her 5 minutes of attention. Kimber gave her 10 seconds of fake sympathy. Then the gavel came down. 1 year in federal custody. Adanna collapsed. Her dream died. Her body trembled. But her spirit hardened like steel. That day, she whispered only one sentence to herself. "They think this is the end, but it's the beginning." Prison was a world within a world. Cold, unforgiving. A place where people entered one version of themselves and left another. Adanna was assigned inmate number 54798. Her cellmate, Marlene, a woman with tattoos like stories, asked, "What you in here for?" Adanna answered quietly, "For refusing a monster." Marlene nodded. "That's how it starts sometimes." Adanna spent her days cleaning floors, washing trays, stacking linens. But one afternoon changed her life forever. While cleaning the prison library, she picked up a dusty law textbook, and something clicked inside her. She read one page, then 2, then 10, and she didn't stop. By the end of the week, she had finished her first law book. By the end of the month, she was studying case law. By the end of 6 months, she was helping inmates file appeals. And every night, she repeated the same promise. When I walk out of here, I will take down the man who put me inside. One day, the prison librarian, an elderly volunteer named Mrs. Donahue, noticed Adanna studying intensely. "You have a gift," she said gently. "You think like an attorney." Adanna swallowed. "I want to fight for myself." Mrs. Donahue placed a hand on her shoulder. "For women like us," she said, "nobody gives justice unless we take it." From that day forward, the librarian smuggled her extra textbooks, court transcripts, and journal articles. Adanna devoured them. Law became her weapon. Knowledge became her armor. Vengeance became her motivation. When Adanna finally completed her sentence, she stepped out of the prison gates with a box of books, a folder of legal drafts, a heart full of fire. She didn't return home. She didn't seek pity. She didn't break down. She went straight to a pro bono legal clinic. The receptionist asked, "How can we help you?" Adanna answered, "I want to sue U.S. Immigration, and I want to file a criminal complaint against Mark Benson." Silence, then disbelief, then respect, because the fire in her eyes was unmistakable. The case took months. Depositions, paperwork, interviews, evidence gathering. But Adanna was relentless. She brought Benson's falsified reports, inconsistent timestamps, video footage proving he lied, testimonies from other victims, and even conversations he didn't know were recorded. It turned out she wasn't the only woman he had threatened. She was just the only one who fought back. And the judge assigned her case? Not Judge Kimber. He had been exposed for taking favors from Benson. This time, her judge was a woman, a fair woman, a woman who listened. When Adanna stood on the courtroom floor and delivered her final statement, the entire court fell silent. Her voice didn't shake. Not once. And when she finished, you could feel the verdict in the air. On all counts, the judge said, "This court finds in favor of the plaintiff, Miss Adanna Okonkwo." Gasps filled the room. Adanna closed her eyes as tears rolled down her cheeks. Justice. Real justice. Finally. But the biggest twist came next. The judge continued. "And regarding the criminal allegations, Mr. Mark Benson is hereby remanded into custody pending federal charges." The same officer who had once handcuffed Adanna was handcuffed himself. He didn't look powerful anymore. He didn't look untouchable. He didn't look human. He looked exactly like what he was. A predator who finally met karma. Months later, Benson stood where Adanna once stood. In handcuffs. In shame. His crimes included sexual coercion, abuse of power, falsification of government documents, wrongful imprisonment, conspiracy with federal judge. The courtroom was full, but Adanna didn't attend. She didn't need to. Justice was already done. She was at home, writing her law school application essay. The girl who once arrived in America scared and hopeful was now a woman who had survived the system, mastered the system, and defeated the man who tried to destroy her. She applied to law school. She was accepted. She became an advocate for immigrant women. She traveled, spoke, inspired, and she visited her mother in Nigeria, who held her tightly and said, "Eneni, they put you in prison, but prison couldn't hold your destiny." But here's where the story takes a turn, because just 2 months after Benson began serving his sentence, Adanna received a letter. No return address, no name, just one sentence inside. "You took down one of us." But he wasn't working alone. She froze. Her heartbeat slowed. Her vision blurred. Someone else was involved. Someone still free. Someone watching her. And around her, the room suddenly felt colder, as if the real battle was only beginning. What would you do if you received a letter like this after finally winning your life back? Do you think Adanna should investigate or walk away before the danger gets worse? Tell me in the comments. What do you think happens next? Your opinion might shape the next episode.